All right, so the next thing is the schedules. So let's take a look at the mass schedule. I'll go ahead and close my hidden windows here, and I'll close the family, not save the changes, just leave it here. And there's a schedule. So Revit will go and get this information and put it into like a little Excel spreadsheet for you. So if I scroll up in my project browser, you'll see under schedules, if I scroll down, there's a mass schedule, right? So if I go to my mass schedule, I have dining 1, dining 2, bar 1, and then the surface area, which is the entire surface of it, and the floor area and the volume. So let's go ahead and create this guy again, and I'll show you how to make it. So I'll close this guy. To make a mass schedule, or really any schedule for a category, you're going to go to your View tab, and under Schedules is Schedules and Quantities. So if you click on that, it's going to ask you what category do you want to schedule. You could do a multi-category schedule, but if you do that, it only will do the shared parameters between the parameters that are in common between the categories. So we're going to scroll down and we'll get to mass. And if you expand, you'll see that you have other options for mass, but we're just going to do the general one, and it's going to do building components and new construction. So all the default settings are fine. And you click OK. And what it does is it brings up this dialog box, and what it does is it gives you the parameters that are shared parameters for the mass. So these are baked in parameters that you see on the side, either in the properties dialog box or in the edit type dialog box that we can schedule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and get that type that we were taught. So the type name is the type. So that was, down below here. And I'm going to move that over. So I want to add that parameter to my fields. And basically what this is going to be is a column in a little Excel spreadsheet. So if I do type, and then I'll go up and get gross floor area, right? And then we'll just do surface area and volume just to get them in there so you can see that it will schedule those as well. And then if I click OK, it will flip me to that view. So you'll see there's the types, there's the gross floor area, there's the gross surface area, and the gross volume. And kind of move this out if it bothers you that you can't see it. In the templates that I gave you, you can go in and quickly update this using a view template. So the view templates that we use for the graphic views, like the floor plans and all the other views, you can also use a view template for this, which controls the appearance. So if I click on this, I've given you a couple of Century Gothics. So if I go to Century Gothic Gray Small, it changes all of that to Century Gothic. And basically what it's doing, you'll see the appearance grays out. So it takes over the appearance. If I go back and select none under the view template, that comes up. And if you go to edit, you can change them individually if you would like to, right? And we can talk about that later. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to calculate totals for these, right? So what I'm going to do is there are several different tabs here that I can use to control what I'm looking at. So if I go to sorting and grouping, it's going to tell me that it's sorting by none. So by default, it sorts by type, but you can have it come in and just say, yes, I want to do type ascending. And so it'll reverse it and put bar on top, right? And so if I click OK, you'll see the bar goes to the top. And then if I go back to sorting and grouping, I can come in and I can tell it to do grand totals, right? And I'll come in and just say I want only the totals. And then if I click OK, it kind of blinks, but you're like, oh, where's the totals? Well, Revit turns off calculations unless you tell it to, so it's not doing any additional work. So we actually have to tell it to calculate. And that's under the formatting. So I'll go to Edit. And if I highlight the gross floor area, you'll see that it's no calculation here. So I need to calculate totals. And you can see you can calculate others as well. So I'll calculate totals, and I'll do the same thing for the surface area and the same thing for the volume. And then if I click OK, you're going to get those totals coming out. So that works really well. And then other things that you can do within here, we'll come back and do that. We can add actually a calculated total that goes through and tells us if we have our gross floor area, and this is our sort of restaurant area total, we can go in and tell it to calculate the occupancy load. So we'll do that when we come back.